Y'all, season 2 of Scales had my gag reflexes going crazy. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to KRSTV. This is your boy Kenny. Now remember, subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow all the information I have in the description box as well as the comment section. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. Now, before I get started with this review, let me give a special shout out to GMAC, which is Gay Men's Health Collaborative. If you are in the DMV area and you would like to get tested for HIV, reach out to GMAC to get yourself a home testing kit. You can actually have it mailed to you, or you can call and make a same-day appointment and come to the location to pick it up. And if you're interested in getting set up with PrEP, which is HIV prevention, reach out to the GMAC for that as well. And if you're a fan of KRSTV, become one of my Black Diamonds, on my Patreon. And Black Diamonds, in blackness, in darkness we still shine. You'll get, for $3 a month, you'll get all of my YouTube content as well as special videos that I will do especially for my Black Diamonds. So check out my Patreon today. Also, check out my YouTube partner BK World 2, which is the Black Netflix. You get everything from RuPaul's Drag Race to the Black Ink Crew. So, after you watch this review, check that link in my description box as well as my comment section and check out BK World 2 today. Now, this is my review for Scales Season 2. Now, I must say, they have great music on this show by a lot of, independent artists. I definitely suggest you guys, definitely check out, some of these artists who are delivering some great original music for this show, because the music on this show is everything. And also, I'd like to also shout out to the creative crew of this show, because this show has gotten a lot of industry award nominations and also some wins. So I say, kudos to Scales, man. This show is everything. And I do apologize because I was going to review this show a long time ago, but due to the fact that I had a nervous breakdown, I never got around to it. But I'm so glad I finally watched it, and I am a die-hard fan, because this web series is everything. And as I said in the opening of this video, it had my gag reflexes going crazy at the end, child. But let's begin. So season 2 picks up after the whole thing that went down at Caleb's game party, where it got outed that while he was dating Ron, Remy that is, while Remy was dating Ron, he had a sexual relationship with Sean, his ex from Birmingham. So in season 2, he said that, his life was a mess after that, but then he just threw himself into his work, and he got promoted editor-in-chief of Libra magazine. So we're seeing him at this event. We actually see, what's the guy's name? Mr. Clark, who's his boss, congratulating him. Everybody's there. Gavin, David and Gavin are there with him. Gloria is also there too. And, he asked about Kevin, but Kevin was supposed to be there, but Kevin didn't show up. And also, Gloria tells Remy that Dakota's coming home from school, and you should come over for dinner when she shows up. So then you know, he's talking, like Remy's talking about how great this night is. He's having the time of his life. You know, he's made a major accomplishment. And then walks in Sean and Sheila, and they're together. Sheila now works for Sean, and as soon as Gavin sees Sheila, he deuces out. Then you know, like David was like, wow, this looks like a Love and Hip Hop reunion, but I'm here for that, but not for this shit. And then we actually meet Troy, who's actually going to be working as Remy's assistant, you know, with his new promotion as editor-in-chief of the magazine. And she's talking, and then the next thing you know, Remy tells David, look, play nice. And he's like, bruh, that's something I cannot, that's something I can't promise you. So David ends up leaving. So here it is, he's in the room with both his ex, and, you know, one of his, and then also Sheila. You know, him and Sheila don't like each other. So then we see something interesting. We actually see Sean have a conversation with Gloria. We come to find out that Sean is Gloria's doctor, and he lets her know that, look, your case is serious and you cannot keep on avoiding me, so you need to meet with me tomorrow. And she agrees. And then we also see something interesting that happens. Ron shows up with his new boyfriend, and thing is, Remy just kept drinking throughout the night because it was just so much. The fact that Sean's there, Sheila's there, and also Ron's there too, but Ron's there with his new boyfriend, so he's just kind of having his moment. But then towards the end of the first episode, Remy gets a knock on the door, and it's Ron with his new boyfriend Andrew. Remy had left his phone at the party, and we can definitely tell there is still something there between Remy and Ron. So just like Remy in season 1 has unresolved issues, we see that Ron himself has unresolved issues as well, and it definitely plays out throughout the season. So episode 2, we find out why Kevin didn't make it to Remy's event. You know, Gloria finds him, and Kevin has OD'd and ends up going back to rehab. So I'm like, yeah, Kevin got it bad, y'all. So we see, we see that Remy's at work. He's talking to Mr. Clark and Troy, and you know, there's this new photo shoot, but instead of it being Mr. Clark, it's gonna be Remy. So he's getting showcased, and you know, Troy's like, yeah, let's get on it, so you know we can make this work, because you know they have a deadline to meet. Then we see the we see Sean finally have the meeting with Gloria, and he was telling her that, look, your situation is serious and you can't just keep dodging my appointments. And she admits that, look, I'm not dodging you, is that I got a lot going on. Kevin's back in rehab, Dakota's now in school and she's coming home, and it gets revealed that Gloria has cancer. And he assures her that, look, it's going to be a tough road, but we can beat this because we caught it early. So her chances of recovery are good, but then again, when it comes down to cancer, you never know. So then we see Sheila have a conversation with her sister Kim. Oh yeah, and just to let you know, Troy Vega is played by Sidney Gates. Andrew, who's Ron's new boyfriend, is played by Brian Slayton. Mr. Clark is Michael Esposito. And Kim, who's Sheila's sister, is played by Samaya Alexander. So we got that going on. So we see that Kim pretty much, her and Sheila are talking, and she talks about her relationship with Gavin, and we can still see that Sheila is still sad over the breakup, because she said that she was only leaving for a few days, but she said when she left, she knew she wasn't coming back. And then Kim reminds her that, look, mom and dad had a really bad marriage, and here it was, she was miserable because she stayed in a relationship too long when she should have left a long time ago. So, we actually see that, Sheila has somewhat of a history of being stuck in a bad situation where she pretty much decided that, she's not going to make the same mistake her mother made by staying in a bad relationship. So that was good to see that, her sister is letting her know that, look, you need to talk to Gavin and clear the air and move on. So then we get a scene with David and Remy. Pretty much, Remy says that Ron wants to talk and that he's coming over, as again, unresolved. So I knew from that Ron still had feelings for Remy, but he was just so hurt and jaded by finding out that he was, messing around with Sean while they were dating. And then, he asks David about Caleb, and he's like, well, Caleb's having his homecoming. He said he's going to be late coming in, so I'm going to go see him later. And that, they talk Gavin, and Gavin is, out there grinding, doing what he got to do. So then we get this scene with Ron and Remy, and he's like, so what do you want to talk to me about? And Ron says that, well, Drew told me that, due to the fact that you're very popular in media, and I landed this new deal with Germany. I was wondering if you can feature me in your magazine. And he's like, absolutely, I can. I can set you up for next month's issue, and we can get the ball rolling. So he's happy and everything, but you can definitely tell unresolved feelings completely. So then we get the scene between Gavin and Sheila. Gavin is pissed. He's like, I can't believe you would just throw away our relationship like that, and then you're gonna work for Sean, and I don't like that motherfucker. Like, how you gonna do me like this? She says that, first of all, I work for Sean because now I make more money and I can go back to school, and I can go back to school and have a better life. But she said that, look, I came here for closure. I wish things were better for us, but I'm sorry, I had to break because it just wasn't working out for us anymore. And then she says that, look, you have become comfortable in your situation. Now, you are a hardworking man. I've always complimented you about that. But when I asked you, you should try going for the supervisor position, but every time when you had that appointment, you never went. And you just got into this comfort zone, and I'm sorry, I can't be in that comfort zone with you. I watched my mom stay in a loveless marriage for years, and I saw her lose her power and her zest, and I'm not going to make the same mistake. And he apologized that he's sorry that he hurt her, and he wanted to give her this token that they had between them, and she's like, you know what, you do what you want to do with that. I'm gonna leave it up to you. And she walks out. So we actually understand that when it comes down relationships, there's two sides. It's not just always one person doing all the shit and the other person's innocent. There are no victims in relationships, only willing participants. So they both played their role as to why the relationship didn't work. They wanted different things. But this scene, Sheila actually inspired Gavin, and I'm going to get to it. So here it is. David goes to see Caleb, and he's like, Caleb. And he's talking to himself like, man, I really want to know what's really going on between us, Caleb. And then all of a sudden, a woman answers the door. And the woman is named Rebecca. And she's played by... Oh, here we go. She's actually played by Onyx Simpson. And we come to find out Caleb is engaged to Rebecca. So that's his fiance. So clearly, this man is on the DL. Now, I know y'all gonna be like, well, he could be bisexual. Shut up, you whores. Because if he's bisexual, she would know that as well as David. But since the fact that he's on some low-key shit, he's on the DL. So here it is. But I have to say, I love me some David. David is smooth as shit. David didn't break character. David didn't get in his feelings. He played along with it. And he was like, fiance, interesting. And then she was like, well, who are you? And he's like, and then Kay was like, oh, he's my trainer. He's like, oh yeah, yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm his trainer, and I stretch him in many ways. I was like, oh, David with the wordplay was everything. So they pretty much talk, and him and Becky, they hit it off. He's like, she's the innocent party in all this. She has no idea that the man she's gonna marry is on the DL. So he's like, well, it's nice to meet you, Rebecca. She's like, oh, call me Becky. Oh yeah, like Becky with the good hair. I was like, that was cute. And they pretty much talk, and she was saying that she wants to know that does he take couples as far as being a trainer. And she was like, oh yes, I would like to work with couples. And then she says she has a friend that's coming to town, and maybe they can hook them. Maybe David and this girl could hook up, and they can double date. And we see that Caleb looks so uncomfortable. I'm like, yeah, boo boo, your ass got fucking busted. And he was just kind of like tense because he didn't know what David was gonna do. But David didn't say anything. But as soon as he went to go hug Rebecca, he was like, fuck you, to Caleb. And I was like, yes, that's how you do it, David. He could have easily caused a scene, but he chose not to do that. But he let Caleb know, I got your number, bitch. So that was cute. I admit that was nice. Oh yes. So then, and I also forgot to mention the role of Kevin was played by Sky Passmore. So that's another character that I forgot to mention. That's who played the role of Kevin. So then we get a scene between Ron and Andrew. We can definitely tell Ron is definitely stirred up in his feelings because, as I said, I think he still has feelings for Remy. But here it is, he done created a whole new relationship with Andrew. And then he pretty much says that so that everything worked out, and then Ron was like, yeah, due to the fact that he's the new editor-in-chief for Libra, and with this new deal, yeah, everything is great. But he says that, but I have to let you know, Andrew, that me and Remy dated for a while, but that's ancient history, But I honestly said unresolved situation. So then, oh yeah, I already talked about that. So then we get a scene between Sheila and her sister Kim. She says that my relationship with Gavin is over, and she feels that a weight has been lifted, and she's gonna work on self-love. Then we see Gloria and Remy go to see Sean, and immediately Remy's like, Sean, what the hell are you doing here? But she explains to Remy Kevin's back in rehab, Dakota's coming home, and that she has cancer. And that, immediately he knew, oh wow, because immediately Remy put it together because of the kind of doctor Sean is. So they said that, look, we caught it in time, and she's expected to make a full recovery. And she tells Remy, I want to wait to tell Dakota during the winter season, but he lets Gloria know that he's going to be there for her and that they're going to get through this thing. They're going to beat it. So then we see Gavin and David, are having like a little powwow with each other. Gavin has decided that he's going to take the supervisor position, but it's a rotational year position, and he's going to be going from different locations all across the country, and he's going to be going to Oakland. And he was like, did you tell Remy? He's like, nah, you know how Remy is. I ain't ready to tell Remy. But they decided to tell him over the weekend when they get together. So then we get a scene between Remy and Sean. Sean, pretty much Gavin, well, I'm sorry, my bad. Remy wanted to meet up with Sean to tell him thank you for helping out with Gloria. But he was like, dude, you could have texted me that. But he's like, but some things are meant to be said in person. So I'm like, unresolved yet again. And then all of a sudden he lets him know that, look, now that I'm here, and like Remy even said that, why is it that everything brings me back to you? And he was like, this can be a reset for us. We can actually rebuild a new thing between me and you. And he goes to kiss Remy, but Remy backs off and he leaves. And it's clear Sean is in love with Remy. And that was why he did what he did at that damn party. Salty bitch. But yeah, that was interesting. And then we see that David is in bed with some guy. I wonder who it is. I'm like, because from the list of the guy, it was actually Drew, who's Ron's man. That would be interesting. So, in the 4th episode, we get Troy and Remy are working on his shoot, and they had to change photographers, and the photographer that the agency sent over is Andrew, Ron's new boyfriend. So, awkward. And Remy looked good, though. Remy looked good for the shoot. And then finally Ron shows up, and Troy is like really, talking to them, and he was like, okay, the photo shoot's done. Could you please excuse him to leave, because we got a lot of work to do. But then Troy let it be known. She's like, this is kind of weird. Isn't that the dude that you used to date? He's like, yeah, but it was a long time ago. She's like, no, honey. A woman wearing ballerina shoes for regular shoes, that is a long time ago. This is hot and heavy, and the fact that your ex-boyfriend was in the room and his new boyfriend is the photographer of your shoot, like, you can't get any better than this. And he was like, look, so what is it? You're going to put me on Wendy Williams and Hot Topics and shit? But it was, she had a point. She's like, yeah, you got a lot going on, child. And she ain't never lie. So then we see Dakota's now back, and we have a scene with her and Gloria. Gloria, as we now know, has cancer, but she hasn't let Dakota know anything. And Dakota has no idea. And she's like, Kevin is going to beat this thing, because Kevin has relapsed yet again. So then we get this scene where Remy is turning up with Gavin and David, and then like all of a sudden David's dancing. He's like, man, I'm going to miss this shit. And immediately that called Remy says, miss what? What you talking about? And he's like, Gavin tell him, he's like, well, thank you, David, for that interlude. But he lets him know that he decided to take up the management program, and that because it's a 1-year rotational program and he's leaving for Oakland, and that it's a new start for him. And, it's like, you guys are all accomplished in your lives, and it's time for me to make my mark. So I was like, kudos to David. And then he pulls out some edibles. So they still partying, and next thing you know, we see that Remy's ass passed out. They got fucked up, child. And then all of a sudden there's a knock on the door. Remy is completely fucked up, because a lot of times when you fucked up, that's when you start telling the truth and you're honest about your feelings. The liquor and getting intoxicated, them spirits come alive. Because here it was, while he was drunk and inebriated, he was texting Ron, because now Ron's at the door. He's like, and I'm like, Ron, you got a whole damn boyfriend. What the hell you doing here? unresolved issues. And clearly this scene told it, because he's like, you text me, but he says, you look tore up. What's going on? And he's like, you said you needed me, so I came here to check up on you. I'm like, yeah, because you still got feelings for him. And he's like, I don't get you, Ron. You told me to stay the fuck away from you, which I did, and then you come back at my house with Amber. He's like, it's Andrew's, like, whatever. And then, like, how am I supposed to feel about this? Because it's clear, you obviously still got feelings for me. And he's like, just look at me and tell me that you still got feelings for me. And he went to go kiss Ron, and then Ron backed up away and he left. But I'm like, he got your card, Ron. You do. So in the 5th episode, we see Ron and Andrew are in bed together. Andrew goes through Ron's phone and goes through the text and sees all the texts that go on between him and Remy. And you can tell Andrew feels some type of way. So they have breakfast, later on, and Andrew goes in. He's like, so tell me, out of all the media contacts that you have, why is it the one that you reached out to was Remy? He's like, well, we work in the same building. I mean, and he's like, dude, it's clear that you still got feelings for him. I see the way you look at him. And, Ron buffs it off. It's like, dude, you tripping. I ain't got time for this shit. And then we get a scene with Remy and Troy. Troy lets him know that Dr. Sean Williams is here to see you. So we go to the lobby. Not only is Sean there, but David shows up, and then Sean starts saying, "Oh, isn't it Kelly?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I can be Kelly, because I damn sure wouldn't be Michelle. I damn sure wouldn't be Michelle. But you, on the other hand," and immediately Gavin broke it up because they was about to get into it for real. And then he was like, "So Sean, why?" So Remy was like, "Sean, why are you here?" And he's like, "Well, I just came to, tell you, talk to you about Gloria, and I wanted to see how you doing." I'm like, it's clear, bitch, he still wants you, Remy. And then next thing you know, Ron shows up. And I'm like, wow, the two guys, it's literally both of them want Remy ass. And obviously Remy is caught between the two. Kind of like last season. And then all of a sudden, that damn messy ass Sean is like, he looks to Ron, it's like, Reggie, is it? and then like Ron's like, dude, what's your problem? And he couldn't answer because his problem is that he feels some kind of way because he wants Remy all to himself. And I'm gonna get to that, but I have to say though, Sean's fine. Child, yes. And then that damn David was like, yo, dude, what's going on with this shit? Like, with your two exes, like, I'm thinking y'all ass gonna be like The Bachelor and start handing out roses and shit. I was like, yeah, because that's exactly how it is. Like, who's gonna win The Bachelor? And it's like the two of them are in competition for Remy. It's crazy. So then, I definitely talked about that. So then we get a scene with Gloria. Gloria is very emotional. And Dakota definitely, she's 18 years old, but she's sharp. She's like, look, I can tell something's weighing on you. What's wrong? And pretty much she finally tells her that she has cancer. Dakota reacts like, this is so unfair. We lost our parents, and I don't want to lose you either. But Dakota says everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be alright. So then we get a quick scene with Sheila and Kim. Kim is calling out Sheila because she's eating cereal for dinner. She's letting her know she needs to get out, and actually live up, turn up and let's have a good time. Sheila, is resistant at first, but then she decides to cave in. So then we get a scene with Ron and Andrew. And then all of a sudden we see that Andrew has packed up his shit, and he pretty much says that, look, for months we have had the best time with each other, but then all of a sudden everything changes now that Remy is a part of the situation. And he was saying that, but I'm happy with you. He's like, you know what? You need to save the bullshit, Ron. You need to stop bullshitting me. And most of all, you need to stop bullshitting yourself. You say you want peace, happiness, and trust. Well, clearly, this is not what this is. So, I'm out. And then he's like, oh, come on, Remy. Why you gotta be so damn dramatic? Andrew's like, you just called me Remy. And walked the hell out. I was like, yep. I think the truth has been revealed. So then we see Dakota goes to visit Remy. Dakota goes off on Remy because he knew about Gloria having cancer and that he didn't tell her. She's like, dude, y'all need to stop treating me like a child. I am 18. I'm an adult. I'm getting tired of being treated like a child. And as I recall, you came to me for advice when you was dating, Ron. Like, let's be real here. Like, as close as we are, why wouldn't you tell me about my sister having cancer? And he was trying to tell her that, Gloria told him not to say anything and that she wanted to wait. And that's why he didn't say anything. It's not that he was trying to keep it from her personally. But Remy didn't say that. So Dakota is like, you know what? I'm going to let you know something. Gloria Keller is my family. Kevin Keller is my family. Not you. And walked out. So I'm like, now his relationship between Dakota is now on the fritz because he didn't tell her about Gloria's condition. And it's like, that's so messed up. So then we get the scene with, Caleb knocks on David's door, and all of a sudden David didn't hesitate at all. He's like, oh, so isn't it the pseudo complicated, I got a fiance type motherfucker hitting on my door? What the fuck you want, bro? He's like, look, I know I messed up. And it's like everything went wrong with us, and I was just thinking it would run its course. I was like, run its course? So this was kind of like a little fling thing for you. Like you were just thinking, oh, maybe I'll just get the gay out my system and then go marry a woman. Typical bullshit. So he was like, but I'm glad you didn't tell. He's like, there was nothing to tell. You know me, man. I would never do nothing like that. I wouldn't never. And I said, I respect David because David could have aired his ass all the way out, but he chose not to do that, which shows how much of a commendable man he is. But he told Caleb, stay the fuck out of my DM, and slammed the door on his face. I'm like, I'm with you on that, David. I'm team David in that situation because Caleb was full of shit. And I kind of had that vibe that he was I knew something was up with Remy, but to figure out that Remy was on the DL, it made perfect sense. Now, in the season finale, we see that Gavin finally leaves for Oakland. Gloria and Dakota have a conversation. Dakota decides that she's going to take off of school and she's going to stay there to help out with Gloria as well as Kevin. And she says that, look, school will always be there, but you're my family and I'm going to be here for you guys. And Gloria says that, wow, you're more grown up than I thought you were, which was cool. So then we get this scene between Remy and Sheila, because before Gavin left, he said that there's something I want you guys to give to Sheila. David said, oh, I ain't giving that shit to her. And Remy was the one that ended up having to give the thing to Sheila. So Sheila comes over, and then, Sheila, he pretty much didn't let her in. He's like, okay. She was like, Gavin left something for me. And he was like, yeah, I'll go get it for you. Left her at the door. Her ass walked in. And he was like, you know what? I'm glad Gavin left to get away from your ass. I'm like, boo-boo. It's because of her inspiring him is why Gavin left. As I said, in relationship, there's no victims. But because Gavin's their boy, of course they're going to be Team Gavin over Sheila. But Sheila, at the end of the day, is not a bad person. And pretty much she was like, oh, you got some fucking nerve. I was supposed to stay in a bad relationship, just because? And she's like, how sad and pathetic are you, Remy? And she's like, you know what? I know all about your ass. When we was at your promotion event. Yeah, Sean told me about your little summer fling, and that's the reason why things failed between you and Ron. So he's like, you know what? Here's your love. Now get the fuck out. And it's actually a picture that had LOVE, and she's like, you know what? Why don't you keep it? But because this is as close to love as you're ever gonna get. And walked out, and he was like, ooh, that bitch. I'm like, Ron, like, Remy, we can't deny this shit. You got a whole bunch of mess going on. And that's the reason why you can't maintain any of your relationships, because all your stuff is unresolved and everything is all over the place. So Sheila, as Sean did last season, told him the truth that he didn't want to hear. So then we see, after that, he probably got in his feelings. He goes to see Sean, and I admit, Sean looked fine as hell. He messy as shit, but Sean is good looking. And pretty much Sean is like, let's have a Netflix and chill. Y'all know about that Netflix and chill shit. Yeah, Netflix and chill always leads to something extra, y'all. But I'm just saying. And he was like, and then Remy's like, well, I'm busy, it's funny because at first when we were dating, you never had time for us. You was always working. But he's like, but I actually got work to do tonight, so we're gonna have to do a rain check. So he pretty much says that, hey, won't you come back tonight, and gives him the key to his place and says, yeah, let yourself in. So we see that Remy's about to pack up his good old, whole bag, overnight bag and shit. He's like, Sean. He gets a knock, and it's Ron. Ron comes in and says, I still got feelings for you. And he's like, tonight's about us. And just like he did on their first date, he brings a bottle of wine, and next thing you know, they making out, and they get it in, baby. They get it on like Marvin. And then all of a sudden, in the morning, Remy's like, you want some coffee? Like, are you hungry? He's like, no, I just want some coffee. And he's like, anything else you want? He's like, yeah, after you make the coffee, get back in bed with me. So I'm thinking, okay, this is cute, because I was rooting for the two of them, but clearly the two of them are screwed up, because as soon as Remy leaves, Ron gets on the phone and is like, hey Drew, I'm sorry how I left things between us. Can we talk? Bitch! I was like, wow. It's like they one and the same. Remy and damn Ron both got unresolved shit, and they just bringing their unresolved bullshit to one another. So I can't wait for season 3, because season 3 is gonna be lit. But shout out to this cast and crew of this amazing web series. The link is in the description box, so you can go subscribe to them, and they're also featured on KRSTV as one of my featured channels. I love this show. This show is amazing, and I can't wait to review season 3. So get down in those comments and let me know your thoughts. So until next time, everybody, take care.